June 14, 2015, tragedy struck the Blanchard family, bringing to an abrupt end the unwavering dedication of a mother to her chronically ill daughter, a symbol of hope and selflessness. Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard, who had tirelessly cared for her 19-year-old daughter, Gypsy Rose, as she battled numerous debilitating illnesses, met a fateful demise within the confines of their own home. At first, the authorities suspected a kidnapping, fully aware of Gypsy's heavy reliance on a daily regimen of medications and therapies to manage her severe health conditions. The Blanchard family's relatives shared their profound concerns, fearing that Gypsy's life hung in the balance without her essential medications. To their collective astonishment, just one day later, Gypsy was located. However, what followed was a shocking revelation that shattered the illusion of a devoted mother's love and selflessness that had once defined their lives. Instead of the wheelchair-bound, frail figure everyone was accustomed to, the police discovered a vibrant, healthy young woman who could walk unaided and was entirely free from any need for medication. Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard, originally from Louisiana, initially pursued a career as a nurse's aide before embracing motherhood. At the age of 24, Dee Dee entered into marriage with Rod Blanchard, who was only 17 at the time. In a documentary, Rod fondly recalled his wife's involvement in credit card fraud during this period. In 1991, the couple celebrated the arrival of their daughter, Gypsy Rose. During those early days, Gypsy Rose was, as described by her father, perfectly healthy. This brought reassurance to Rod, despite his youth. However, marital life was not a path Rod was prepared for, and shortly after Gypsy Rose's birth, the couple went their separate ways. Around 3 months after Gypsy Rose's birth, Dee Dee began expressing concerns to her ex-husband, insisting that their young daughter was suffering from sleep apnea. Despite medical examinations finding no evidence of this condition, Dee Dee persisted in claiming that Rose experienced respiratory issues and was afflicted by an unspecified chromosomal disorder. When Gypsy Rose reached the age of about 8, she had a fall from her grandfather's motorcycle. Dee Dee rushed her to the hospital in urgency, where medical professionals diagnosed her with a minor abrasion on her knee. Dee Dee, however, remained unconvinced. From her perspective, the fall had caused more severe injuries than a simple scrape, and she believed Gypsy Rose would require multiple surgeries. To prevent any further strain on her knee until medical experts could ascertain the true nature of her leg condition, Gypsy Rose was confined to a wheelchair. Dee Dee faced a significant moment when her parents began to question the authenticity of Gypsy Rose's health issues. In response, she made the decision to leave her parents' home and sought medical attention for her daughter at a hospital in New Orleans. Dee Dee insisted that in addition to the previously mentioned chromosomal disease and muscular dystrophy, Gypsy Rose was also dealing with hearing and vision impairments, as well as seizures. Despite medical examinations failing to provide concrete evidence of any underlying medical condition, doctors yielded to Dee Dee's requests and prescribed anticonvulsant medication and pain relievers for Gypsy. In an interview, Gypsy's father, Rod, expressed his deep admiration for Dee Dee's unwavering dedication. He remarked, "I told Dee Dee she was the best mom. I can't do what you do. You have a sick child, and you're constantly taking care of her 24/7. I'm always singing her praises." Dee Dee had accused Rod of neglecting child support and failing to establish a relationship with Gypsy, but this narrative was far from the truth. In reality, Dee Dee was receiving a monthly support check of $1,200 from Rod. Rod and his new wife, Christy, did make visits to see Gypsy, although these interactions were never one-on-one, as Dee Dee insisted that Gypsy might require immediate medical attention at any given moment. In addition to Rod's financial support, Dee Dee and Gypsy received donations and disability payments. Their lives took a significant turn when they found themselves homeless in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Fortunately, Habitat for Humanity in Springfield provided them with a new home. They were also fortunate to receive support from numerous foundations, which enabled Dee Dee and Gypsy to travel the country, participating in experiences like trips to Disney World, attending baseball games, and engaging in charity events. In a heartwarming moment, Dee Dee once took the stage during a Relay for Life event dedicated to raising funds for the American Cancer Society and addressed Gypsy, saying, "You are the reason I was born. To be your mom." As Gypsy grew older, the natural course of adolescence led her to seek independence and distance herself from her mother. She began moving about the house at night, defying Dee Dee's insistence that she could only move with the aid of a wheelchair. In secret, Gypsy ventured onto the internet, even creating a Facebook account under the alias Emma Rose to connect with someone on social media. In the year 2010, Gypsy reached the age of 19, although Dee Dee persistently maintained that she was only 14. By this point, Gypsy had come to the realization that she wasn't afflicted by any illnesses and secretly hatched a plan to escape from her mother's control. One pivotal night, she summoned the courage to venture to a neighbor's home, desperately pleading to be taken to the police or a hospital. Dee Dee, however, managed to convince the concerned neighbors that Gypsy's behavior was a result of put-in medications, causing her to hallucinate. She wove a convincing narrative, at times suggesting that her daughter was mentally challenged or attributing Gypsy's perceptions to the side effects of her medication. Her storytelling prowess was so persuasive that people readily bought into her version of events. In 2011, Gypsy attempted to escape to a man she had met through social media. Upon learning of Gypsy's intentions, Dee Dee swiftly cut off her daughter's internet access. She issued chilling threats, warning Gypsy that she would destroy her computer and confine her to the house. By 2014, Gypsy, now 23 years old, though Dee Dee continued to claim she was 19, became acquainted with a 23-year-old man named Nick Godejohn from Wisconsin. Despite Godejohn's previous criminal record for indecent exposure, Gypsy remained steadfast in her belief that he could help her break free from her mother's control. According to former FBI agent Brad Garrett, Nick was at the 15 to 16-year-old developmental age level and really didn't have a normal history of social interaction. Gypsy attempted to introduce Nick to her mother, but Dee Dee reacted negatively to their meeting, reinforcing her threats to keep Gypsy confined within the house. Gypsy confided in Nick about her longing to break free from her mother, emphasizing, "I didn't hate her. I just wanted to get away from her," as she later revealed during an interview on the Dr. Phil show. A few months after their initial meeting, Nick Godejohn paid a visit to Gypsy Rose. Unfortunately, Dee Dee was also present during this visit. It was during this time that they hatched their plan to carry out Dee Dee's murder. Following the discovery of Dee Dee Blanchard's lifeless body and the revelation of Gypsy Rose's true story to the public, Gypsy received an outpouring of support and sympathy from a wide circle of friends and sympathizers. Many who had initially mourned Dee Dee's death were now outraged by the years of abuse her daughter had endured. Numerous psychiatrists speculated that Dee Dee might have suffered from Munchausen syndrome, a disorder where individuals feign illness or intentionally induce symptoms to undergo medical procedures, treatment, hospitalization, or surgery. The underlying causes of this syndrome remain poorly understood. Shortly after the murder, Gypsy Rose voluntarily confessed to the police that she had enlisted Nicholas Godejohn to carry out the killing of her mother. Following this shocking incident, a post was published on the Blanchard family's shared Facebook account, sending shockwaves through their followers and the community. Gypsy and Nick embarked on a journey to Wisconsin in an attempt to escape their troubled past. However, their plans were soon foiled when the police managed to trace the IP address of the incriminating Facebook posts back to Nick's computer. In the initial footage of Gypsy's police interview, she wore a mask of shock and despair in relation to her mother's untimely demise. "I don't know what happened to my mom," she informed the skeptical police officer, who harbored doubts about her innocence. Gypsy persisted in proclaiming her innocence, saying, "Why don't you just tell me?" "No, sir, I didn't do anything." In a phone conversation with her father, Gypsy clung to her assertion of innocence, vehemently maintaining that she had played no role in the unfolding events. "I still couldn't believe she could walk when I saw Gypsy on the news," her father reflected after witnessing footage of his daughter entering the courtroom. He added, "I felt so foolish. If she could walk, what else had we been deceived about?" During searches conducted at Dee Dee Blanchard's residence, investigators uncovered an extensive collection of approximately 100 CDs filled with documents, photographs, and digital records. Furthermore, a linen closet contained a treasure trove of prescriptions, some of which were acquired unlawfully. Throughout her life, Gypsy had been under the care of more than 100 different physicians. She explained to ABC News, "Mom was very pleasant and highly persuasive. The doctors placed their trust in her." Dee Dee attributed the absence of Gypsy's medical records to their supposed destruction during Hurricane Katrina. Additionally, she went to great lengths, including obtaining a counterfeit birth certificate for Gypsy Rose and altering her age. When a doctor in Missouri uncovered this deception, Dee Dee promptly relocated Gypsy to a hospital located 3 hours away from the previous one. Despite being subjected to numerous potent medications and serious medical interventions, Gypsy managed to maintain her overall health. She candidly admitted to ABC News in 2018, "There were certain illnesses that I knew I didn't have. I knew I could eat, and I knew I could walk, but I believed my mother when she told me I had leukemia. I trusted her, and I thought she knew better," concluding, "My only issue is my deteriorating eyesight." One of the neurologists, Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein, who had been consulted by Dee Dee regarding her daughter's supposed seizures, grew increasingly suspicious of the mother's behavior. He noted that Dee Dee appeared dissatisfied when he informed her that her daughter was, in fact, in good health. At the medical center, Blanchard caused quite a commotion, recalled Dr. Flasterstein. He recounted how Dee Dee berated the nursing staff, insisting that he didn't know what he was talking about and that she had no intention of returning for further appointments. In his medical record, Dr. Flasterstein even made a note suggesting that there is a strong possibility that the mother has Munchausen syndrome. In February 2019, Nick Godejohn received a life sentence for first-degree murder, despite Gypsy serving as the primary witness for the defense and taking responsibility for planning Dee Dee's death. Godejohn explained his actions, saying, "The reason I did it was because I loved Gypsy so much and sympathized with her situation." Gypsy, on the other hand, received a 10-year prison sentence with the possibility of parole in 2024 when she reaches the age of 32. Remarkably, she does not perceive life in prison as significantly different from her life at home with her mother. "In some ways, it may appear as though nothing has changed, but I feel much more liberated now," Gypsy shared during an interview. "Back then, I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat, I had no friends. Surprisingly, I feel like I have more freedom in prison than I did living with my mom. It allows me to lead a life more similar to that of a typical woman." Within the documentary, an expert on Munchausen syndrome suggested that Gypsy might display some degree of sociopathy, particularly emphasizing her behavior following the murder. Gypsy responded to this observation by stating, "I was raised to follow the patterns and behaviors my mother taught me, and they weren't healthy. She taught me to deceive, and I have no desire to continue down that path. My aspiration is to be an honest and good-hearted person." The Act, a TV series based on the life of Gypsy Rose starring Dee Dee Blanchard, was released in 2019.